to this computer. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So the purpose of this call, I'm hoping it's not going to be all that long. Carol, Elizabeth, and I, and Susan Miller and Tammy have all been kind of going back and forth for a number of months about streamlining these opportunity overviews on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. Many of our teams are exploding with growth right now, and we think that it's critical that we have these overviews weekly and make it duplicatable so that our teams know for sure without a shadow of a doubt there's going to be a speaker every Tuesday night about product and every Wednesday night about the business. And we want to ensure that it's posted and available for people to market and use weekly early, like a Sunday night, not like a Tuesday afternoon when the overview is Tuesday night. And so Carol, Elizabeth, and I think we're probably the most passionate about this. And so we've been back and forth a good bit about it because it provides a lot of value to our team. I know, Amanda, your team is already offering product overviews weekly. So clearly you guys think it's really important too. And so Carol and I just wanted to propose to you guys, there's Susan, hey. So we wanted to propose to you guys, getting this truly lifted up off the ground and it not being kind of a hot mess every week who's speaking. So I want to propose to you guys kind of the what, when, who, and the logistics. And Carol, feel free to jump in whenever. And then we wanted your thoughts. Like, we're just proposing something to you because we want to get going and make it streamlined immediately. But we're completely open to your thoughts and your feedback on a better way to do it. We just want to get started like yesterday. So the what, I just presented the what, which is predictable weekly product and business overviews for growth of our new team. And then also the when, which will be Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. for 20 to 30 minutes product overview. Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m., 20 to 30 minute business overview. We're proposing just to keep it on Zoom on the same link every week. Again, I'm just thinking, Carol and I have been back and forth about this, like keeping it duplicatable and simple. Although I like the Facebook groups, the problem is if we alternate back and forth every week, it's going to create mass confusion as to which platform is being used each week. And it's just another cluster versus just using the exact same Zoom link every single week so that even if people aren't sure who's speaking that week, they've got the link and they can invite, knowing and trusting that our leadership is going to show up that day and present. So that's the when. And so the who is the get leadership. It's all of us holding hands and doing this together. I think the product piece is a great opportunity to rise up our strong leaders on Tuesday nights. I don't think that each of us needs to run the product overview every week, but I think that obviously it needs to be strong rising leaders who have compelling stories and have been trained by you, and that we can entrust that their presentation is going to be succinct and it's going to educate our audience and it's going to make impact. We do think that the opportunity overviews on Wednesday nights need to be us. And we need to be confident and comfortable with the content that we're leading with. And I know Susan is working on a specific deck that she's really passionate about, or content. And Susan, feel free to chime in a minute. But so that's the who. Now the logistics, and this is the last piece, and then I'll turn it over to Carol and then any Q&A. The logistics are, this is what, and I see comments in the chat. I'll check them in just a second. Carol and I, and you guys may think completely differently, which is why we want it to be a team agreement. And I think Susan's on a different, that has a different perspective than Carol and I. And that's why we're all here together as a team, because we all have different perspectives on how to streamline this. We actually propose to whichever leader is leading the GAT calls that week is also in charge of the opportunity overviews. I get that some people are going to think or feel that it's a heavy burden, that they're already leading calls in the morning and that they don't want to run the evening calls too. Just hear Carol and I out on the logistics of that. Number one, you'd only really be doing the opportunity overview for 20 to 30 minutes on Wednesday night, right? You wouldn't be doing the product overview. Truck, that's right, that's a truck. The product overview can be delegated to some of your strong leaders on the team. It doesn't have to be you. So what you're really looking at, that's a truck, yes.
You want to tag? You want to tag?
Yeah, please. Go ahead, Carol. I'm
I'm
gonna
like,
mute myself.
okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. So exactly that what Melissa and I were talking about, just in terms of our own logical mindset. When we know we're on a week for Global Exec, knowing that we're on the week for the evening makes it way easier in life, ideally, right? And as we know, we're all rising people up. So when most of us host the Get calls, it's not 24/7. It's not Monday to Friday us. We're outsourcing. We're bringing in other people. It's not us talking for the 30 minutes, because God knows people are, wanting to hear other voices. So that being said, the Tuesday and the Wednesday calls as well, if we know that that's our week, then that's our week. And let's face it, as leaders, we're doing this full time, and it's showing up, right? And to be able to, for me, if I have another week, I'm already kind of out, to be honest, because I don't want to have to worry about it like that. I'm hosting weekly calls within my team right now, the Ideal Life, where I'm bringing on people's testimonials, and that they're using that as to be able to load their people up onto one of the calls. My one thought, and Melissa and I hadn't talked about this, well, we had a little, but I just want to throw it out there. If the stories, because I think we're seeing people are running from Facebook, especially with the, it's shut down and everyone lost their mind. I didn't even know because I wasn't on it. It was beautiful. That if the stories are our stories, there's real power in Vimeo, right? Isagenix has Vimeo. I've got a Vimeo for my team. If we had a Global Exec team Vimeo and everyone's stories lived there, let's face it, the people that we are prospecting, we're sending them that tool. So if the stories are just going to be us, then why have a Wednesday night story just rotating us telling our same stories all the time? If we were looking for our stories like they're in the Get Free Facebook, and they are simply a video that we know are in one spot, that's one potential way to not have us all worry about plugging in live, but we can for sure. And then the other thing that we were talking about was whoever raises their hand and says, I'm into this, and again, you don't have to, because ultimately I'm doing it anyway, Melissa's doing it anyway, Amanda, you're doing it anyway. I know we all want other people's voices anyway, and we don't want to have to do it every night or every week. But then it would be up to us as leaders to create our own imagery, because we all have our own style of our imagery, and all of that's okay. And same thing with the slide deck. I want to do my slide deck because you want to put your people into me. I want to put my people into Susan's slide deck. So we're really just looking to unify ourselves, but the verbiage and the language, it's our own, which we know is Susan and Murray, like it's all our versions of that, but all the different sides of it. So that was just what I wanted to add.
Awesome. Yeah. So thank you
guys. Could I?
Yeah, go, Susan.
Could I offer in, Sue? I love, you convinced me. I'm all in. My concern was already addressed when I spoke to you about it, because the only concern I had was that when people were running the week over the last couple of years, Jessica and I were running into, sometimes they didn't want to do the whole week. And so I was like, well, we're going to add them to do more. I just didn't want that issue. So if everyone's buying into it, I'm all in. I can take a week myself anytime. I'm doing it anyways. I love what you said, Carol, about having different voices. I don't want it to be like the company has a slide deck and everyone does the same slide deck. Then we look like Stepford wives, I mean, it's crazy. So I have like 5 or 6 different slide decks I use. I'll offer them up to anyone who wants to use them or re-edit them the way you want to and make them flow the way you do. The only thing I ask is that we don't hand this off to people that aren't capable of doing a very powerful one, because the nighttime are for our prospects. So they have to have the best of us right now. And launching our next wave, they have to hear from the best. That's all I ask. So that we're not, the morning calls, we need that too, but not as much, because people have already drank the Kool-Aid, and they're buying in. That's it. I love it.
Yeah, that was 100% our thoughts, and that's why we wanted to pull you guys together and whoever else raises their hand. And again, it doesn't have to be everybody. And don't feel like if you don't want to be part of it, that it matters to us.
Well, I have others I want to add to this list, like Joe Ames and Laura Thompson. And, I've got about 5 or 6 other people very capable of contributing very quality content and new voices, as we spoke about, because we don't want it just to be us again. I'm sick of listening to me.
Right. Awesome. Also, and this is where, from a logistics, from a scheduling standpoint, I think, what Carol and I envisioned, and I think Tammy and Susan, you as well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we would love to see like a rolling roster for 2 months out of, knowing who's up. And when you raise your hand and say you want to participate, if you all of a sudden you can't for whatever reason, I mean, it could be me, I'm home alone and a baby has an ear infection and I know that I'm not going to be able to present that night. It's on me to find someone to cover for me. We're not putting it on Tammy. We're not just dropping the ball. We're owning this like the 6-figure income earners and above that we are, and managing it that way professionally. But my ask, I guess, would be that for those who commit, Tammy, would you be comfortable, working with us on just creating if we're committing to all the get leaders, but then also want to add other rising leaders to this docket or roster, if you will, like the Joe and the other people of the world, then they need to be added like outside the get rotation. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm totally
I'll have Tammy. She's the one that should be doing that because she knows everybody. Yeah, echo Tim, take care. But she should be our go-to person just for the flow, so you guys don't have to take the time to do that. But to me, as many leaders that want to contribute, I mean, I would love to just be able to say, we're doing it once every 8 to 10 to 12 weeks, and that we always know that we can plug in and get some powerful players and not have to think about it every week.
Okay.
Plus the video is going to be coming out in the next month. So We'll have that as well.
So then from a logistical standpoint, I guess my question would be then the alignment to the leader who presents with who is running Get won't necessarily, it won't run in hand because we'll have more speakers for the opportunity overviews than we do for the Get calls, which is totally fine.
What if we did this? This is just a thought. What if we have the rotation, if the Get call trainers are the rotation, but then we have who's available. So if it's my week, but I can call on Joe Ames and ask him. I can call on Laura and ask them. So it's almost like we have the bench players. So it's, if we know who to pull from, we can pull them off the bench, if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. So that's it's a rotation ownership of Get leaders, but then Get leaders can pull from their bench to do the opportunity overview. So like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Susan, what do you think? What do the other leaders think?
And
I would like to.
Oh, go ahead.
We've had. I want to include some new leaders. So I am going to add Joe and Laura to have one of their own weeks because they're very capable and competent with their verbiage.
Okay.
And so I'm going to add them in. And if anybody else has anyone else I think is ready to get some fresh voices, if we want to get some more core, there's not many I think that are, but if there's like 2 or 3 other that can be part of the core. And then of course we have our bench, which is our depth, of people that we can pull in. And when you're doing the call, you should always be doing just like we do in the morning calls, is bring some 1 or 2 people. So I really think that should be the core pitch, and validation is what people are getting on these for.
100%.
Validation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. So
because every Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday should both have at least one testimonial of somebody.
Yes.
Somebody that's made $600, right? That it's
or lost 60 pounds. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's whatever you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I really think that the evening calls, when people are coming in, if you think of the infomercial, you get the core information, but they're buying it because somebody they related to.
Do you want to know what I just started doing last week? And it was freaking epic. I did my testimonial and Jen O'Yarzan's first. So I gave the why first and then the how. And I was like, woo, that was awesome.
I love that. Guys, I've just perfected a 10-minute pencil pitch. And I'm blown away that you can teach the financial money in 10 minutes on one piece of paper. And this is how the guy I just enrolled down here, and because he did a pencil pitch, and I'm like, I need to do that. And I literally been working on it this whole week, and I'm just blown away with it. So I'm going to teach this to you guys. If we can do a Zoom maybe when I get back. And literally, this is what I'm teaching at Cicada Express next week. I'm blown away. Like in 10 minutes, you can show the money. They either get it or they don't. Done.
That's awesome, Susan. I can't wait to hear it. So it looks like Andrea says here in the chat, personally, I am more attracted to the opportunity overview than the product. as I know our teams need that more. In other words, I would be happy to commit to the opportunity overviews and the product. Amanda and
Who's this?
Andrea says, Amanda and I will brainstorm on others we can lift up. So help me understand, Andrea, are you saying that you guys would commit to supporting the opportunity overviews, but not the product? Can one of you guys speak up? I'd just love to hear your voices and like what you're thinking on this, because I know you guys already have your own product thing going on.
Hey, sorry. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. I think that we are using product overviews every Monday night, and we have a schedule all the way out through July. And we are actually using those to rise people up. So they're a little rough, but that's kind
Understood.
of, we are anticipating that they're going to be rough. So that's really a great opportunity, because I remember when I started, that's how I started speaking, right? Like that's how I got confident and comfortable. So for us, it would be really redundant to bring people in to do product overviews on Tuesday nights. That would just be, that's not what we need. But I think Amanda and I are on the same page as far as the opportunity on Wednesdays. And
Could I make one suggestion there?
Making
Maybe of the people that you've been practicing with, if you have one or two of them that have gotten really good, they'd like to be asked to do a Tuesday night where they're like the keynote speaker and push them up and give them that leadership,
that platform
exposure that they're looking for. A lot of people like that, you know. So if you have somebody that wants to do it where they are being honored, to evolve into that position.
And also just gives them an ability to plug in and plug their team in to the people that are going to be doing the Tuesdays that your team might not have access to. That's really why I see the value in this, because I don't have a Joe in my team. I don't have a Jessica Johnson inflammatory one in my team. I've got a smaller one for exactly what you're doing, but I'm going to.
But this is how we contribute back.
Just all the options really for people.
So just so I'm firing all cylinders here and clicking and understanding. The idea is that the product and the opportunity will both be Zoom calls, scripted Zoom calls.
The product overviews are on Tuesday.
Not on the Facebook.
No, the product
on the Facebook page.
Yeah, product overviews on Tuesday nights on Zoom, and the opportunity overviews on Wednesday night on Zoom. And if you guys took ownership, I mean, you and Amanda share a call week together. So
a week.
Two of you on 1 week that would be alternating like every 8 weeks. So it shouldn't take much.
That's fine.
One person.
Okay.
You guys want to use the
Carol, you said it best when you said, like, I don't have a Joe Ames that had a CrossFit champion. So if you're trying to prospect for a CrossFit champion, you want to put them on our Tuesday night Zoom, that's awesome. We want you to leverage that. But if you've got somebody that has a great story that we could throw in so the larger team can benefit from it, that's what this is for. It's just so that everyone can utilize each other's people that have some really great stories, because that's all this is about, is telling stories more than anything else that somebody else that you're prospecting will relate to.
Or my team members, I want them to hear how you present, Andrea. And I want to hear, right? Like that's where, because if you think about how we all originally learned all this was from plugging into the Zooms and listening to all of the different styles. So it just allows us to duplicate, but also have our teams learn all the different language, all the different flows. You know, it doesn't have to be cookie cutter. Somebody can be funny. Somebody can be more straight and narrow. Somebody can be like, that's the magic, I think.
I agree 100%. And some of these newbies that are recruiting and funneling in their networks and even those of us who are tenured, jumping on the call, it's an educational opportunity, like you were saying, Carol, for our new people just as much as it is recruiting. And I saw your text. So Amanda's saying they can also table their decision and speak with Renee and Elizabeth, just because I think they work with all of them, and see if maybe they want to move their product call to Tuesday to join forces. Since it's already going to be a resource that's going to be offered regardless. There she is, nice and naked.
Hi. Sorry, I was literally just getting out of the shower. Yeah, I mean, we can talk to them for sure. They may have interest in even being a part of this, you know, and doing the business overviews as well. So we'll talk to them and kind of figure out. But like Andrea said, we've been putting some rusty, very new people on those product calls, and we find that it empowers them. And I know, you know, just like Susan and I get, they really want polished and well-spoken and people comfortable. So it just kind of is a matter, I think, of kind of talking to Elizabeth and Renee about what they think, but I think they may be open to it. So I love this idea. I mean, now that I have a little more clarity on it, I think it sounds good. It sounds like I don't know. I like it.
Awesome. Well, I promised you guys, we haven't heard from Aaron or Adrian. Are you guys on the line? I just wanted to see if you guys wanted to share any thoughts before I kind of move on to call to action or just like action items moving forward. Do either one of you guys want to share your thoughts?
I'm here. It sounds good. I mean, I'm not speaking for Adrian. I'm not with her. No, I like the idea. I think it's good. Adrian and I don't have a week of calls, I think, until like June. So if you want to throw us in there somewhere, that's totally fine. But anyway, no, I'm completely on board, and I think it's good.
Okay, awesome. All right. And Adrian can always follow up with us, and I'll share the recording with Jessica and Adrian. And if you want to take this recording, Amanda and Andrea, and even send it to Elizabeth and Renee to get like the bigger picture of what we all chatted about today, that's totally cool too. I'll send it to you guys. So let me pull up my notes. So a couple of things just from a call to action standpoint. So we talked about group thoughts and feedback. So we've talked through that. Everyone seems to be somewhat on the same page. Amanda, do you think maybe you guys could get back to us this week, maybe by Friday, on like your decision as far as what that looks like, folded in or not? Just so from a scheduling standpoint, Tammy can start getting that out. And then the next thing is we just need to agree on the link. I know we used Jessica Johnson's Zoom link last time. I think hers has the widest capacity. I was hoping she would be on the call so we could get her to commit to just giving us her link on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights.
Hey, Melissa?
Yes.
Melissa, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, let me turn down the kids' karaoke here for a second. I'm on my way to the airport. Hey, I did talk to Jessica, and I have her assistant, the other assistant, has blocked out the time frame for me to have that Zoom link anytime I need it on those days. So we do have a confirmed link. And
perfect.
And everyone that's running can also be added as admins so that they don't need to log in as Jessica. So I've got other admins loaded onto my Zoom that they can just plug in and take my Zoom away. So super easy to set that up.
Well,
Okay.
I want to be able to have it recorded to the cloud, because when it's recorded to the cloud, I have immediate
Yeah, so that has to be the call to action that everyone has. But you don't have to be there on every one of them to help everyone do it. We just do it.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I've got a
It just
monkey.
automatically goes to the cloud.
Sorry, I've got a monkey.
Jessica was having troubles downloading anything that's not to the cloud. So we worked on that last night. So it's imperative that it's always recorded to the cloud. Otherwise, I don't have access to it. It goes directly to the computer that's being used.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll just set up like a Google Doc like we had before way back that has, here's the thing, here's the this, here's the that. Make sure you record it to that. Just like we used to for the get calls when we were learning.
So then does somebody want to take ownership of that Google Doc since we're on the phone now?
I'll do it.
Okay, sweet. So Tammy, you'll confirm the, well, you've already confirmed the Zoom link, and Carol's going to work on the document. And then this is exciting. So then the next thing is everybody okay with just weekly, whoever's turn it is? This kind of relinquishes a little bit of control, but probably gives you less to work on, Tammy. And that is that each week, whoever's presenting, it's their responsibility to create their own social media kind of flyer for everybody to use, and maybe put it out by Sunday nights for Tuesday and Wednesday, put it on the Get page for people to use. And if you don't want to create your own, then maybe work with Tammy on the one that Tammy puts together. But then that way we don't have to wait. When it's our turn, we don't have to wait for someone else to produce it for us, versus just going ahead and getting it out there. How do you guys feel about that? Kind of like we do with the Get calls now. When you have guest speakers, whoever's coming up, we just put it in the Get feed, who's speaking, what topic, what time, and put in JJ's Zoom link. I mean, is that doable for everybody?
Yeah, that works. I got a question. Like Susan mentioned, are we always going to be having a guest, like to validate? So we do the product opportunity and then we have a guest, whether they're on our team or not. I mean, I guess sometimes we can pull from other teams. Or do we not want to? Do we always want it to be
It's your
validating
week. You
someone
can
from
do
our-
whatever, however you want. If you're feeling you want to run it. In my mind, this is like, it's like your own team call. We're just allowing everyone in on it. So whatever you feel that week, that day,
Okay.
you got to go with it.
I agree. That's where the creative juices come in. Whether it's a week that you just want to pour your heart into the audience for 20 minutes, like Jessica did, I think on product last Tuesday, or if the next day she brought Joe in and she interviewed him. So I agree with that.
Oh, your story is actually the validation.
Yeah.
What's that?
And your story can actually be, it could be our story that's actually part
Okay.
of the validation, you know?
So we don't necessarily have to have a guest on there. We don't have one or
No.
don't want one or
No,
whatever.
we could be our own guests. I've done that before myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Your own story is
Because we
definitely.
each have a powerful story. We each should have our own Zoom story, 20 minutes, why Isogenics product, why Isogenics business, and at least have that on a Zoom. And then we can start putting this Zoom on the global exec team. Like we can have a reference page of all of these powerful stories of all of us first. And then we can start to engage other people on our team that we want them to share their stories. As many stories as we can get. We can put them on the getfree.global site and on the globalexecteam.com where there are videos of people sharing their stories. And each one should say, you know, autoimmune survivor, 2015 CrossFit champion, like all the different product stories as well as business, but they should be videos. These Zooms should be housed where our prospects can find them.
And that can go on a Vimeo as well.
Like Carol,
Super easy, but I've got to hop now, but I'll
I
make
don't
the
actually know what a Vimeo is.
I'll help you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's just a video. Awesome. Okay, so
Thank you.
we've got the Zoom link. We'll wait, Amanda.
Okay,
We'll wait.
I gotta go too.
Okay, we'll wait, Amanda. We'll wait to hear from you as far as how you guys want to fold in. Tammy, you're going to work on the rolling responsibility. Do you think we can have that out by next Monday?
We're just going to have to talk to everybody and see who's in, and then we'll put the email. Like that's why I kind of said if we plan to launch for April, like so that it's.
Tammy
like,
already has a coordinator.
Okay, I'm going to leave.
We
You
already
fill
know
me
who's
in.
going to be 2 months. So we'll just do that. I'll have Tammy. I'll work on that with you. Tammy is still here in Florida with me. I'm here until Thursday. So I would just say whoever is currently doing it, like Chelsea's doing it this week, although she's flying on Wednesday, so it's just too soon. We could probably start it by next week. I don't know who
That's
starts
what I
next
was
week,
gonna-
but or I
Susan,
can cover.
that's going to be my last question: is who wants to do it this week? Who wants? Does anybody on the
Yeah.
line want to take ownership for Tuesday and Wednesday this week? I know I did it 2 weeks ago. Jessica did it last week. Does anybody on the line want to do product and business overview this Tuesday and Wednesday?
Okay, can I ask something really quickly? Are we saying that at least
Any
the
other
first-
time, Chelsea and I would, but we're away.
Yep, totally get it.
Are we saying that that the first time that we do this, we're just using ourselves, we're not bringing a guest on, and that way, at least for the first 8 weeks, basically,
think
we
that would be
have
the way to
all of our stories
Yes.
out there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
that makes it easy.
We get our stories down.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's brilliant. Yeah, I like it.
It's your turn again. If you
And
can
you
always tell
have
your
to
own
have the
story
guests, but
again.
we have to validate. That's the point, is that you get to decide. It's your call. I don't want to put any pressure on people. And the bottom line I'm just trying to say is don't just tell the story, validate it through your own personal experience.
Yep.
Right.
Andrea, they are at 8:30 p.m.
That makes sense?
Yeah. So does anybody want to do it this week?
And what?
Does anybody want to run them this week? The product and the business overview?
I can't hear. I'm sorry.
Can you guys hear me? Can anybody else hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Does anybody want to have someone on their team do the product overview this week and the opportunity overview on Wednesday? If not, I can do it again. It doesn't matter. I mean, to me, it's like I can get somebody on my team to do product, and I can do the opportunity overview on Wednesday. Susan, do you mind just sending maybe one of your decks on the business opportunity, just so everyone has it as a reference point, so they have something to kind of play with before it becomes their turn to present? I know she might not even hear me. All right, let's wrap up. Thank you guys for your time. I guess I'll just do the product and the business overview again this week. And we'll use Jessica's Zoom link, and we'll get started on a new roster next week, and we'll wait to hear back from you, Amanda and Andrea, on what you guys decide. Have a good day.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.